Flora disposable handkerchief from Delta Paper Mill Limited. And that's the newspaper review brought to us by Flora disposable handkerchief from Delta Paper Mill Limited. So Enimwa and Aka, we're about to start.
Now we are about to start. Don't say some. Again. No, say. Hey, Rade, where you do? Say. Say. Hey, Rade. Okay.
Enimwa.
This video had me laughing so hard.
Yeah, so if you were the teacher in that situation, how would it feel?
I don't know. Maybe we should ask Mr. Akable because he used to be a teacher. So,
Pupil teacher?
so how would
Yes,
you
I thought a
feel?
bit. I mean, it's normal. I mean, sometimes you get frustrated. I can get the frustration of the teacher. You know, a teacher friend sent me the video and actually added that. And this is why we were excited when the president locked down the schools. I mean.
Don't say some. Don't say some.
Anyway, let's get into the
All
papers
right.
this morning.
Okay. Let me start with the Ghanaian Times this morning. Front page: horrific. 18 perished, 45 injured in road crash. Ongoing election petition. Supreme Court dismisses petitioner's application. NLA KGL Technology set to roll out digital services to generate revenue. 2 Adar youth groups. Chiefs throw weight behind assault project that's going on there, and Medema and Hearts seek to return to winning ways, and also Liberty and Adriana Stars share spoils. That's it for the Ghanaian Times.
The front page of the Chronicle, first it says Psalm 44, verse 15. All day long my dishonor is before me, and my humiliation has overwhelmed me. And the first headline is Chachu crash lands again.
Chronicle.
Another application thrown out. I'm not too sure the connection, but there are a lot of stories. So let me read all the stories. Maybe we'll get a fuller picture. Oforiatta releases 1.2 billion cedis to pay for COVID-19 free water and power bills. KGL Technology should have a role in government's digitization agenda. That is also coming from an expert. And with the greatest respect, my lord, your questions were irrelevant. That is Chach Chikata being quoted there.
Okay, the Business Finder this morning, that story on here as well. Oforiatta releases 1.2 billion to ECG, Ghana Water Company Limited, as part payment for free water and electricity, but the total bills may exceed 2 billion Ghana cedis. The GPHA has taken delivery of new equipment in the first quarter of 2021. Momo transactions hit 569 billion in 2020. That's it for the Finder.
The Daily Guide reports government releases 1.2 billion cedis for COVID relief. Supreme Court bounces Mahama document request. And don't shout, I've killed someone. Kidnapper tells kidnapper. And KGL government collaboration game changer also on the front page of the Daily Guide. The back page has some sports stories here. Konedo explains Kotoko slow start. And that's my good friend, the former coach of Kumasi Asante
Why is
Kotoko.
he explaining Kotoko's slow start? Why is the current coach not explaining?
I guess, yeah, he
But
was
he was
interviewed.
sacked,
Yeah.
so-
Yeah, I mean, I know. So why is he
So
explaining
he's
this?
explaining maybe why he was sacked.
Right. Oh, that's
Okay, so those are the main stories on the front and back pages of the Daily Guide this morning.
okay. The new crusading guide. Finance Minister designate releases 1.2 billion. Supreme Court throws Mahama's application out. Government's digitalization initiative makes solid case for KGL technology. Pretty much the same stories, and that's the new crusading guide.
The Daily Graphic says election petition. Supreme Court dismisses application to inspect EC's documents. Carnage on our roads. 19 perish in Wipe Tamale crash. And Graphic Man wins 1.42 million cedis lottery. Highest jackpot in Ghana's history.
1.4 million.
1.42 million cedis.
Oh.
Winston seems very interested in this story.
Oh, no, it's good. I mean,
The back page of the graphic, before I give you the details later on that story that you are interested in, Tamale interchange to be completed July. It's also on the back page of the Daily Graphic.
Okay, my last paper is the Daily Statesman. KMA commissions completed projects in senior high schools. Mahama suffers another blow. Supreme Court dismisses application to inspect EC's documents, and 1.2 billion Ghana cedis paid out to ECG Ghana Water Company to cover COVID-19 relief package. Gosh, they couldn't resist themselves. Like this story was on the back page yesterday. Man United 9, Southampton 0. It was on, so I don't understand why it's on today as well. Maybe it was just for your pleasure, Winston, because obviously you're very joyful about that.
Then let me say a good morning to the editor, Kwabena Mankwa, editor of the New Statesman, of the Daily Statesman, Kwabena Mankwa, reporter. These days we called him reporter.
For repeating, for okay. But anyway, the Australian Open also has a story on that. Players to go into isolation after hotel coronavirus case. So about 500 and 600 Australian Open players and officials are going into isolation because one of the workers at the events hotels tested positive for coronavirus. That's it. That's the headlines, Winston.
All right, so we'll get into the details shortly, but let's go for our online news review brought to us by Zenith Bank in your best interest and Goyle Good Energy. And so Goyle is doing something very, very unique. Now, Goyle has now gone cashless and so convenient because Goyle e-payment system is now compatible with GH Link. That's the national payment platform. And what that means is that you can use your GH Link card on Goyle POS machine to purchase fuel. Now, every fuel you purchase is recorded automatically on your monthly bank statement, and that helps card holders to track and manage their expenses. So go ahead and use your GH Link card to buy fuel and all lubricants from any of Goyle's over 400 stations across Ghana. Go cashless and protect yourself today and stick to all COVID-19 protocols in these times. Goyle Good Energy, Goyle, Yenara Yenze. But do you want something hot to spark your vim this morning? Something sweet and creamy? Do you love the tantalizing aroma of coffee? Then all you need is 1 Ghana cedi and a cup of hot water as part of an awesome breakfast. With only 1 Ghana cedi, try the new Nescafe Sweet and Creamy, mild coffee that is sweet and creamy. What are you waiting for? Try and you will thank me later. Breakfast just got better with Nescafe Sweet and Creamy. It all starts with a Nescafe. Okay, so let's get to myjoyonline.com. And Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagbin is, issuing some warnings and says Speaker of Parliament threatens to publish names of MPs with COVID-19.
Thus far, about 50 members of Parliament and staff have not submitted to the test. I'm please requesting any member or any staff who has not submitted to the test to please do so immediately. Secondly, Mr. Speaker wishes me to draw the attention of members to the House that some members of Parliament who have in fact tested positive to the COVID are still coming to the chamber. The Speaker wishes me to inform that if those members do not withdraw and isolate, he will be forced to publish the names of members who have tested positive in order to warn the rest of us. Please, let's take this protocol seriously and let all members who have been informed of their test results that they have tested positive withdraw from the precincts of Parliament, not just the chamber. Stay home and self-isolate, go through the protocols and recover before they return to the House.
So that's first Deputy Speaker of Parliament, a member of Parliament for Bekwai, Joseph Osei-Usu, Joe Wise they call him, reading a statement from the Speaker, Alban Sumana Kingsford Bagbin, that some members of Parliament have tested positive for COVID-19 and they're still coming to Parliament.
I don't understand.
Yes.
I don't understand. It's difficult to comprehend.
That members of Parliament, the people we expect to do the right things, have decided, even though some of them know that they tested positive, to still go back to Parliament. What are they going back to Parliament to do? When you know that if you have COVID-19, you have to isolate?
But the question remains, how did they get into the chamber? Because if the Speaker the first deputy speaker is talking about it, it means that obviously they have a list of those individuals, and he would have to have that list in order to see someone and know that this person tested positive and is coming into the chamber. And so I guess the best thing they should be doing actually is that when they have such information, they should make it available to those the marshals who are in charge of the security of the area, because such persons clearly cannot be allowed into the chamber.
But I think the thing is not beyond or before even allowing them into the chamber, is the personal responsibility of the decision to wake up in the morning, bath, wear your clothes, know you're COVID positive, get into your car, drive to Parliament. Like, I mean, do you also need to have somebody say you're positive, so don't come to? Can you not make that decision on your own?
Exactly. You see, Joseph, I mean, let me even use a multimedia group as an example. If you go for COVID-19 test, if you're positive, the facility will call you directly. If you're negative, you get the results from the company. What that means is that you, for your health records, should be known to you and you only. Then you then decide to tell the next person. And I think that's what Parliament sought to do by saying, okay, so you know your status, stay home. Now that members have decided to come to the House, that's the reason why the Speaker is saying, if you do not stay home, we'll be forced to publish your names. Because
because I mean, generally, the point is that we expect people to take responsibility for their actions, but that often is not the case.
It's
and
not
that is
just
how come,
people, Joseph. This is members of Parliament.
That is how come we've had the restrictions imposed and sanctions. That's how come the police are supposed to go about arresting people who are supposed to be wearing masks. I mean, there's a way. We know that punishment deters people sometimes, and so while expecting that those people take responsibility, it's important that Parliament does not leave things to chance. You remember some time back, we had a member of Parliament say on national radio that he tested positive for COVID, but Odyssey Krum Kakra. You remember that?
Yeah, that's Carlos Ahinkra. He went to
Usain Bolt
monitor,
proceedings.
registration. But you see, it's not responsible when you have COVID-19 and you still decide to go to town.
In fact, it's worth pointing out that the speaker actually, in that same speech that he delivered, pointed out that still more than 50 of them have refused to take the test.
Exactly. We'll get back to this particular issue, but a bit of sports news that says, still on NigeriaOnline.com, Barcelona's Sergi Roberto tested positive for coronavirus 26 times.
Somebody says, yeah. Okay.
26 times. So he tested positive, and he goes and tests against positive. Goes to test, he's positive until he got out of it. Let's get to citynewsroom.com. And COVID-19, Ghana records 777 new infections and 9 deaths. So the last, on 30th January, it was, 8 deaths, and we had about 760. Now we have 777. And Akufo-Addo re-elected ECOWAS chair. Let's get to the BBC News homepage and find out what's happening on BBC as part of our online news review. And House Republicans resist pressure to oust lawmaker. And Brighton shocked Liverpool at Anfield. I'm not going to talk about that. Wait for the sports segment. And Sierra Leone rebel on trial for Liberia war crimes. Okay, so let's get into the details and let's see what's making news in our papers. Joseph.
I'll start from the front page of the Daily Graphic. That story about carnage on our roads, 19 perish in Buipe Tamale crash. 19 people have been confirmed dead in an accident that occurred at mile 40 near Fufoso on the Buipe Tamale Highway in the central Gonja district in the Savannah region in the early hours of yesterday, February 3. The story goes on page 3 that 17 out of the 19 people died on the spot, while 2 others died in hospital while on admission. The drivers of the 2 vehicles involved in the accident are reportedly among the deceased. And it goes on to give some details about the accident that one of the buses was traveling from Kumasi to Zebela in the Upper East region, while the other was from Garu in the Upper East region to Kumasi. The head-on collision affected 108 passengers on board the 2 buses, out of which 19 made up of 14 male adults, 4 female adults, and 1 female child perished. And so, very unfortunate development there. I guess that's how come we've been having the campaign, Arrive Alive campaign, and urging drivers to be
careful.
Yeah.
But I'm interested, because you're on, I'm just really interested about what's been going on at the Supreme Court. So and we don't know when you'll be back on the morning show. I guess this is a good time to ask you that what have been your highlights since it started? And there's been a lot of drama. Obviously, a lot of the front pages are carrying the whole Chachu Chikata and the Bible verses and all of that. But what have been the highlights really of the election petition so far?
Well, I guess the main issues have been the cross-examination, where people have. We've seen the lawyers try to cross-examine the witnesses of the petitioner. So we've had Dr. Michael Pesawait, we've also had Johnson Esiedu Nketia, and those have been the key highlights. But beyond those ones, there have been at least 4 rulings on major issues that have come before the court. And the latest is what is being reported in the papers about a request that Mr. Mohammed's lawyers made that they wanted to inspect documents in the custody of the Electoral Commission. Another aspect of the whole case that people have been talking about has to do with Chachu Chikata. I mean, we know him quite an experienced legal practitioner, and on social media, people have been talking about how he interacts with the judges. Yesterday he was telling a judge that his questions were irrelevant. A day before,
Chachu was telling the judges?
Yes, he told one judge that his questions to Mr. Esiedu Nketia 2 days ago were irrelevant.
And what was the judge's response?
The judge disagreed and said that, he should keep his opinions to himself, and that he disagrees with that. But he still insisted that his questions were irrelevant and explained why he felt those questions were irrelevant. Earlier, he had told the same judge that the judge was harassing his witness, and the judge also had some reservations about that comment. He still insisted that the judge is harassing his witness, and he proceeded to explain why that is happening. And so, many are having a discussion in social media. They are asking questions. Is this how a lawyer should relate to the bench? And people are also saying that, look, the judges are supposed to deal with justice, and so if questions of a judge are irrelevant, why can't a lawyer point that out?
Yeah, if the questions of a judge are irrelevant, you can tell the judge your questions
but the
are
irrelevance is subject to opinion, though, isn't it?
It's irrelevant to his case.
Do you think any other lawyer apart from Chachu would get away with speaking to judges like this?
And the answer to that question, to be fair, is that in the course of this particular case, we have seen instances. An example, yesterday, Mr. Akoto Ampao said the application that they were making is misconceived and they are trying to conjure away their burden of proof. The Chief Justice took exception to the use of the word conjure and was prompting him that he shouldn't use such a word. And Mr. Akoto Ampao respectfully said that he disagreed. We have seen instances where other lawyers in the case have said that they want the judges to follow the wisdom of the Nigerian court, among others. And so people generally don't seem to agree on how the lawyers in this particular case are relating to the bench and how the bench is handling it as to whether it is respectful or not.
All right. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much, Enimu, and thank you very much, Joseph Akable. It's time for the BBC News, brought to us by Fidelity Bank, Believe With Us, and Provident Insurance Company Limited. With Provident, man, you're covered. But first, some few messages from our partners.
Hey, Baba, Charlie, I want a haircut. Quick, I have somewhere to be before noon.
Charlie, why are you in so much hurry? It's a woman, huh?
I want to use the bank in the city to get some money out.
All the way in the city. But Charlie, you know say I be FBN Bank Ghana agent. I